And today's Picks Parenting Plus, we're a little past the halfway mark of the summer, which is the perfect time to check in with your children. And you may be surprised at what you're learning right now.
Yeah, I mean, believe it or not, a recent Pew Research Center study found that more than half of teens say they'd be more comfortable talking to their parents about mental health than seeking out their friends. Clinical psychologist Dr. Rihanna Elise Anderson says the summer midway point is a good time for parents to probe, and she's joining us this morning with some advice on how to go about it. So good morning to you. Great to have you here.
Thank you.
Okay.
So
we are in the midway point of summer. I am a parent of a 13-year-old, and you are saying that this is the time to check in. And why is that?
Absolutely. So I think a lot of parents might say, okay, my kiddo is sleeping. That's what they're supposed to do throughout the summer. But it's been about 6 weeks or so. So I think the question is, are we seeing something that is common, or is there something else to dig into?
Okay.
So there are a lot of parents who often, they have this ideal of what their kids should be doing, what they didn't do.
Yeah.
Talk about pressuring the kids to do particular activities, whether it's dance or baseball. How do you go about exposing them, but without pressuring them?
I think we've got to reverse just a bit, because the kiddos this generation experience so much pressure all the time. So when they're in school, they're talking about the next phase. So what is the prep for the SAT? What's coming next? They're constantly in this mode of, how can I do better than where we may have been when we were in high school? They're in college prep. They're in prep for something else. So I think they're constantly getting pressured throughout the school year. So in the summer, do we want to add that added pressure to them? That's the question that I'm pushing for today. But there is a nice balance. How do we both encourage them to get up out the bed to do activities, but also to keep an eye on if that pressure has been bottled up so much throughout the year that they just really need this time to relax.
Yeah, I mean, my daughter is going into 8th grade, and we live in the city, so she's getting prepared for going into high school and all of the academics that you need in order to get into the admission, the whole admissions process. It's so much stress, the admissions process, etc. So how do you figure out if your child has kind of reached that high functioning burnout?
Absolutely. I think I'm such a big data geek, right? So it's a question of, have I noticed something consistently in my kiddo for 2+ weeks, right? So I'm thinking of depression in particular. Are we seeing chronic sleeping, a change in appetite, a change in mood? Are these things chronic over 2-3+ weeks? And if so, it may be a question of what types of resources can I galvanize around me? Is it a therapist? Is it a free talk app from, say, the New York Public Schools? What can I do with my young person to say, this is a little different from what I would be expecting from you normally, or maybe even what happened last summer? Let's get a chance to look at some data.
So if you're seeing some signs, what's the best way to actually do that midpoint check without making it seem like, oh my goodness, you're pressuring me to, you want me to have something wrong?
Oh, such a good question, right? We never want our kiddos to feel that way, and we want the best thing for them. So there may be a point where we have to say, listen, this is a bit different than what I've noticed. I want to know if you feel the same way. So just get a check-in from them. That's the thing I think most parents are afraid to do, to ask and to probe, because if the answer is yes, something is in fact wrong, then we feel like we have to do something about it, or we feel like there is a need to address that challenge. But I would say that it's more important to address that challenge than to say, well, I just am a little too nervous, or I don't want to do something about it. So you would want to ask them, are you also feeling different? And then what might you want to do that addresses this? Make a collaborative plan together.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like, it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of situation. So what might be normal for one kid is not normal for the other. So when do you know that you've reached a point where you do need to seek help, for sure?
Yeah, I think using baseline data for your own child, such a great point, Hazel. How is it that I'm looking at my kiddo and seeing what they did maybe either during winter break or the summer break before, and is this different? Is it developmentally appropriate for someone to get more sleep, to eat more?
Exactly.
Those are the things that we have to balance, but we have to use data to get a sense of that. So if we're just keeping our eyes turned, or we're saying this is just normal, we're not going to collect that data. I really want parents to be mindful and start making a note, taking out a journal and figuring out consistently, is this something that I'm noticing? And if that's the case, who can I bring it to?
Dr. Anderson, thank you so much. I'm going to be taking notes for my children.
Take the notes.
Thank you again.